So I have this theory that reloading presses are kind of like rabbits. If you leave them alone in the dark, they tend to reproduce. Well, at least that's what I'm trying to pitch to my wife anyhow. So I thought I'd try an experiment here. Here we have a CH Mark II. It's a linear progressive reloading press. One of the earlier examples of a linear that I have. Pretty cool. And here we have a CH201. Single stage, kind of run-of-the-mill reloading press. Nothing terribly exciting about it. A little grimy, a little dirty, but you know, it is what it is. So what I tend to notice is that if I leave them in close proximity and I so much as, you know, turn around or the lights go off, that when the lights come back on, they've somehow multiplied and I have a brand new press now. How cool is that? So what we have here is the CH Tool and Die Company Model 206, or sometimes it's referred to as the TO Super Slide. And for the life of me, I have no idea what the TO stands for, but if you see ads for it, usually it's referred to as the TO Super Slide along with Model 206. And this is kind of cool because it's essentially a single stage linear turret press. So instead of just having one die queued up in my press, I can have the entire operation. But instead of normal turret presses, we're used to a round rotary system on the top. This actually has a die plate that all four stations can slide back and forth. So you can do all four operations just like a turret press. So we'll go through each of these in just a minute and just kind of cycle through here. It's nothing complicated about how it works, but pretty neat setup. It's a pretty beefy press. It's something like, I don't know, a little over 10 pounds fully loaded here. It's big cast iron or cast steel frame on it. It's virtually a O style, the one side cut out of it over here, so pretty strong setup. The one I have, someone at some point has chopped the handle off of it, made it a little bit shorter, and I'm missing the primer catch cup on this, but other than that, it's pretty well set up. These presses are apparently made sometime from the 60s into the 70s, and I don't know exactly the dates on that for sure, but that's the best that I can figure at the moment. They're not currently offered anymore, and kind of the most recent advertisement or mention that I can find is in the 70s. And I've got a Shooter's Bible from 1971, and it's pictured in here. And in 1971, set up like this, the press with the plate and the priming system and all the dies and the powder measure, would have ran a little over $60. So you know, adjust that for inflation and all that good stuff. In today's dollars, that's somewhere a little over $300. So that's comparable to what a new, like a Lyman or an RCBS turret press would run. So they weren't outrageously priced back in the day, but you know, pretty comparable to what their contemporary equivalents would be today. So pretty neat piece of equipment here. I'll put the book away here and grab a piece of brass out and just run through kind of the basic operation of this. I have this one set up in 44 mag. Actually I have RCBS dies in here, but you know, it's standard 7/8 thread on all these, so any dies will work. Do have the CH powder measure on here. I actually got the powder measure separate from the press, so these weren't original pieces together, but they were sold as a package, the same powder measure and this at one point, but you could also buy the measure separate. This is kind of neat. It has a micrometer style adjustable drum on there, so you can dial in your charges. So we also have the priming arm here. This one has the small primer cup on it. I wish I had the larger one, but I don't, so I can't really see the primer for 44 mag now because that's a large primer. Missing a spring in here. There should be a little spring that forces this back out, and I don't have that spring, and I don't have it in my collection of my stuff. Take standard shell holders, so I actually have an RCBS shell holder in there, but any of the normal ones would fit. It's kind of interesting story how I came about this this press. I was heading out for a work trip, and I had noticed that a fellow it was right along my route actually. I was heading several states over, but right along my route had advertised a CH Mark IV 4-station linear progressive reloading press, and he was interested in getting rid of it. And so I'd asked him if he wanted any trades or anything, and I had an old, a brand new shotgun that I had bought on clearance when the Gander Mountain store had closed out, and I got a heck of a good deal on it, and I had ambitions to do stuff with it, and I just never had. So he said he was interested and he would trade my shotgun for his press, and at that time I really wanted a Mark IV. So that was pretty cool. I was excited about that. And he also said he had this other weird press that he'd throw in kind of a deal also, and I said sure, that'd be cool too. And as I got looking into it more, I got both of them in the trade, and I was super happy with that, and he was happy, and so we were all good. But the Mark IV was cool, and it actually was complete, set up for 38, I think maybe 45 ACP. I don't remember now, but it was neat. I enjoyed playing with it for a little bit, but they're not terribly rare. There's quite a few of them out there. I eventually did sell that one, and I kind of wish I still had it, but I sold it off and bought some other stuff. But the 206, I'd never even heard of it. I'd never seen one before, and I started looking around, and there's not a lot of them out there. Every once in a while you'll find one pop up somewhere, and if you search CH206, there's a couple of guys that have them and have posted pictures and stuff on the internet, but they're not terribly popular. I actually contacted CH after I got this was a couple of years ago, and kind of asked them about it, and the only parts they had for it is they still had some shell plates kicking around, and they had the primer cup available for it, and I ended up not getting either one of them. They seemed kind of spendy for, I'm not going to use it. Maybe I should get those pieces, I don't know, but right now I'm just a shelf piece, so maybe someday I'll get it and complete the rest of it. But that's kind of a little bit of background about this press. So let me put this stuff away, grab a piece of brass, and we'll run through the functions here. So there's nothing really complicated or mysterious about how you operate this press. It's just like any single stage or turret press, one function at a time. I suppose there's several different sequences you could operate it. You could have it set up where you do them in reloading in a batch, so you do all your cases, you size and deprime first, and then you move over and you do all of them, the flare, and all of them powder drop, and all of them seat. You could run it like that, or you could just do it, run through the whole sequence on one, and then go to the next one, load one complete round at a time. And I think if I was going to be using this, I'd do it in batches, one step at a time for the whole batch. It seems like you'd be shuffling around here a lot to try to do all the operations in one all the way through, but you certainly could do that. But just run through kind of how this works, and again, it's not complicated. You have your 4 basic stages here for a pistol caliber: your deprime and size, flare the case mouth, dump your powder, and then seat and crimp. There's a knob here on the side that has a spring and a little detent in it, so if this is screwed all the way in, you can't move this head. If you back this out a couple of turns, then each one of these, there's my shell holder, each one of these stations you can cycle through. Be right back. Alright, so we're back. Retrieved my shell holder. Like I mentioned before, this is just standard shell holder. This is the RCBS one. There is a little clip that you can use to hold that in there so you don't knock it out like I did. My handle won't stay up, so it keeps falling down and gets caught. But anyhow, you can lock it in with this knob or adjust it out so you can cycle through there. So in the first stage, just like anything else, place your brass and you would deprime and resize here. Primer gets knocked out through this slot, wouldn't be captured in your spent primer cup here. On the downstroke, you can place your new primer in that cup, move it over. Since I'm not all the way up in the seating die here, it's not going to go into the slot in the ram there, but you could go over, seat your primer by moving the handle up a little bit, back down, pull your primer arm out of the way. Come back down so it's been resized, move over a station. So we're going to put a flare on it, flare die there, back down, move the next station up, just let it set there. There's a little funnel built into the bottom of the powder measure. Cycle your measure, so up, fill the drum, down, dump the powder charge in there. So move your handle up a little bit, go to the fourth station, take your bullet, set it on there, up, and seat. And I don't have any of this dialed in, so I have no idea what this is going to look like when it comes back out. Down, obviously I didn't set that all the way in there, up, and there would be your complete cartridge. So, that's the general operation if you were to cycle one cartridge all the way through each operation. You could certainly operate it like that. I think if I was going to do that, it would be easier to cycle your whole batch through each station, one station at a time. Otherwise you are shuffling around a lot, but you have options. So overall, pretty neat piece of equipment. There's a lot of things you could do with this. You wouldn't be limited to just running one pistol caliber in here. You could. This shell plate comes out, so if we unscrew this a little bit, this whole plate runs right out of there. So if you had multiple plates, multiple measures, set up a whole bunch of them, swap them out. There's like tool heads on some of the progressives that are around now. So certainly could do that. You could have one tool head set up with, for rifle calibers. That would work. You could have one for just decapping, do whatever you want. So all kinds of options. It is pretty cool that we have a linear style shell plate, tool head, not a shell plate. So that's the CH206. Not a whole lot real complicated about it, but you don't really see many other presses like this. In fact, this is the only one that I know of that has multiple stations that move in a linear fashion on a tool head like this. There's obviously turrets, round turrets that rotate, and there's all kinds of varieties of those, and they're still pretty popular. Some that you can swap out pretty easily, and some that take a tool, but it's a pretty neat press. I'm glad I ran into this one. And so if anybody else out there has one of these, I'd be interested to hear about it. Really glad I found this piece. So again, thanks for watching. I would appreciate any comments or questions you have on this, and always appreciate it. Haven't really decided yet what I want to do for my next video, but these are probably the two options I'm thinking of at the moment. So I've got a Meepos gun shop reloading press here, made by Meepos Gun Shop in LA, California. Pretty cool piece of equipment. And then here I have another shop built or homemade built press. Word that I got on it is that it was also built by someone in California as kind of their going to the range setup, and so another super cool, you know, one-off, built in somebody's garage or somebody's shop most likely. So if anybody has a preference one or the other, let me know. Thanks. So there's nothing really complicated or intricate about